Hi, everyone. Welcome to Living in the Good Space, Mind, Body, and Soul. I am your host, Annette Johnson, the Fly Coach, and I'm excited. Again, I know I say it all the time. I can't help myself. I'm super excited about the panel of powerful women that I'm going to be speaking with today. I hosted a Women's History Month series for March, and each Sunday I am airing that conversation in celebration of Women's History Month. So this is my final show for the month, and I'm just excited to be able to share this conversation with all of you and these amazing women and the work that they're doing in their communities. And so I have with me today Dr. Galena Bivens. She's a retired social worker, and she's a therapist focusing on mental health at the Professional Wellness Center. I also have with me Dr. Tina Reid. Her focus is on global health, and she's a professor at the Salisbury University, and she focuses on wellness in the community. I have with me Sonya Whited. She is a senior director of retail product development at Purdue Farms, and Dr. Kimberly Purvis, principal at Snow Hill High School. So please help me welcome all of these beautiful ladies to Living in the Good Space. Hey, ladies, welcome. Thank you so much for being with me today. I've really been intentional about my Women's History Month celebration this year, and wanted to use this platform to share different women who are just doing amazing, what I call just community nurturing and care, and that really use their talent and their skills and their experience and their passion to uplift women everywhere. And so I follow you, Sonya, on Facebook, and I'm sitting in my living room one day, I think it was like January, maybe early January, and I see these pictures start to pop up of you on this like once in a lifetime trip, I call it. It's on my bucket list. And so I started living life vicariously through you because I saw all of your beautiful faces and, you know, this amazing trip. And so I reached out because I wanted to bring you on, one, to talk about that, but to talk about your friendship, your connection, and what you're doing in your respective communities. So the first question I have for you is, how did y'all meet? And I'm going to start with you, Sonya, because we have that connection. I follow you. I reached out to you right away and was like, I need to get you guys on my show. So how did you all meet? Oh, you're on mute, Sonya.
Sorry, we met October 2020, I believe, or actually a little bit before October 2020, and as members of coming in for Princess Anne chapter of the Lynx Incorporated. Mm-hmm. And so that was this is the group, and there's one other person, Dr. Sharon Washington, that's also came in a group together. So some of us knew each other beforehand. Mm-hmm. But for example, for Dr. Reid and Dr. Bivens, I just met them through that I'll just say scenario, and we became really, really good friends. So they are truly my sisters, and you know, aside from the trip that we took, that you probably, if you follow me on Facebook, you see we go out trying to do it monthly. The last couple months have been easier than trying to plan the other months, but we try and get together monthly and talk to each other via text, group me, just supporting each other. So it's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah. So I want to go around and hear from each of you. It's Women's History Month, and I wanted to do a show that was dedicated to friendship. I think it's just a beautiful experience and element to life to have a sound sisterhood. And that circle that you just enjoy being with, you work together, you share together, you have fun together. So I want to go around and hear from you. What does sisterhood mean to you? When you hear that term sisterhood or sister circle, what does that mean to you? And maybe we can start with you, Dr. Purvis.
Okay, sisterhood, I think it's a bond of people who have a similar interest. You know, when I think about the bond of sisterhood that I have with these ladies, it's really, I love it because we are all professional women. We're all working for the betterment of our communities, but we all have one thing also in common, is that we love to have fun. We love to laugh. We enjoy each other's company. And I think that's what sisterhood is to me, that you're about business, you're about work, but you're also able to relax and have fun and enjoy people. And you get to see both sides of individuals, and you can grow from each other. I mean, if you were around people who had same interests or same profession that you had, you would never grow. So I think with this diverse group of ladies, this sisterhood has allowed me to grow personally and professionally, because I'm around people who are different, but yet we have the same interests. So that's what I think sisterhood is.
Yeah, I love that, being around people that inspire you, and that make you want to be a better person or give you the space to grow. I love that. What about you, Dr. Bivens?
Similar to what Dr. Purvis said, but I think I like to include that I like not only the bond, but sisterhood for me is that someone is going to lift you up when you're down, someone that will not always agree with you because I'm your friend or your sister, and I think you're right, that they're able to tell me, Galena, that's not right. I disagree with that. And I think that when you have that bond and you have that relationship with someone, that they should be able to tell you that I don't agree or disagree. I think we all have different circles of friends and friends, quote unquote, and that, we have them for different reasons, different places in our lives. And I really feel that, that bond, and you just need someone to agree with you when you're right and to tell you, no, I don't agree with you. Because I'm not for that foolishness. So, and also to be able to, to go out and still fellowship and then have those conversations and be comfortable with those conversations. And you wake up the next morning and you're still sisters.
Yes,
friends.
Yes, because you respect honesty, you respect that truthfulness. So, yeah. And so I love being around people who are not only going to say to me, no, girl, I don't agree with you, but let me tell you why. So I love being able to receive that honesty. What about you, Dr. Reid?
I would agree with everything that Dr. Purvis as well as Dr. Bivens said, including yourself, Ms. Johnson. The other thing that I would say is that strong bond is something that nobody can break, no matter the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifference. The other thing is I love the fact that you can be your authentic self. With all your mess, you can come, you can be transparent, and you won't be judged. And I have to say, that has truly been such a blessing in my life to have met these ladies and to be able to grow, not just grow personally, but professionally, and correct me when I'm wrong, which is not that often.
Of course not.
So we said we do love to have fun, and that's truly what we get to do, is really be fun, be silly, and just enjoy each other's company. And the other thing that I can say is that they can be able to read you well, even when you say anything, and just a little text, a little quick phone call, just checking on you. And like Dr. Bivens said, lift you up when you're feeling down. And even though they may not know what's going on, they're just letting us reach out. And then those nice elements of surprises that you get when they just recognize you for just being you. So
I love that.
And thank you for the opportunity to have us on today. It's truly such an honor and a privilege. And I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for saying yes. I appreciate you giving up your time today to have this conversation with me. So I want to get to the scarves. You all have the same scarves on, I believe. And so tell me what that represents.
I guess I'll just start, and then we can all embellish. So one of the reasons, and you saw this on Facebook, you were talking about the trip to Ghana, right? And so we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But one of the highlights, and we could talk about more highlights as well later, was our naming ceremony, right? So Ghanaian names, your first name is the day of the week where you were born, right? So I think Dr. Reid and myself share Friday, which is
Mhm.
Afia, right?
Mhm.
So if you look on this, you see Afia.
Wow, nice.
And then we were all given different last names. And so
Mhm.
mine is Nyamake and mine is right here, and it means God's gift. So
Wow.
though we all have the same scarves, our names are on them. And so our names are all different. So if you want, we can all tell you our names.
Yes.
But it was
Yes, I
a
want to
full
hear the names.
ceremony. It was actually really, really touching and really, really moving. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear everyone's name. So, Dr. Reid, what is yours?
Mine is Afia Zarkora.
And what does that mean?
Born on a Friday, and spirituality, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right, Dr. Bivens?
And protector.
Oh, okay.
Mine is Akosa. I was born on a Sunday, and my name is Badua, which I believe it meant strength. I'm sorry that I don't, but I believe
Okay.
that that's what they said during the ceremony. It was just such an emotional time, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. Just fantastic. So it's like you remember things and you just get caught up in the moment.
Right.
That's my name. Yes.
Right. And Dr. Purvis?
And mine is Akua. And I was born on a Wednesday. So this is Akua. And my last name, Sarpoma, which actually means God's daughter. So that was really special and really kind of brought things home for me, because that's certainly, who we all are.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that name just kind of resonated, and I guess that's what they gave me.
So I want to just jump right into this, to the Ghana trip. It's on my bucket list of things to do. I'm actually looking at a trip at the end of this year. So how did you come to go to Ghana? What was the purpose? And I want all of you to share a piece of the trip from your own personal experience.
I have had the opportunity and privilege to be able to go to Ghana actually in July of last year. And part of my time in going there was to really explore some opportunities for other students and other people to be able to go. And we're going to talk about a couple other organizations, but I'm a part of a women's organization. It's the University System of Maryland Women's Forum. And I've been a long-time member of this forum, and it's a lot of the state universities of women coming together, and we're appointed by our president of our campus. Because I have been traveling to different parts of Africa myself, as well as another person by the name of Vanzella, we call her Renee McQueen. She also goes to different parts of Africa, but Ghana is like home to her, and every year she goes. So her and I were asked to put together a trip for the Women's Forum to come, and other people said they were interested in going. And I said, I think we should just allow as many people to go as they want. So actually, my sisters here, we were talking about it, and I said, well, I'm going to probably be going back because I also received a Fulbright, and I was going to be there in October. And I said, this will be a great opportunity for you to go. I think you'll have a phenomenal time. And they were like, all right. And I said, no, I really want you all to go. And they said yes. So they jumped right on board. And the whole purpose of us going was truly about a cultural immersion and just to be able to explore. But I was going for two different reasons, not just the cultural immersion, but I was also on my sabbatical and exploring different learning opportunities for not just nursing students, but students from different disciplines as well. And then I'm going to stop right there because that was the purpose. And I want to stay true to what you,
Okay.
So that's the purpose. And then I'll turn it back to you for now.
Yeah, but I'm going to come back to you because I want to know how to get on the list.
So actually, I was going to bring that up to you. The trip, there will be another trip at the end of this year. So we'll be able to talk to that, and I will be able to
be in touch.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely be in touch. Who wants to go share next?
I guess I will, just in terms of building on what Dr. Reid mentioned is if I had an opportunity, I won't say an opportunity, I had a friend that was in Ghana, I don't know, like 5 years ago, and I missed that opportunity. And I was not pleased with myself at all. And so the minute that she offered, I was like, oh, yes, please. And so basically for the cultural immersion, been to different parts of Africa, always wanted to go to West Africa. And so West Africa wasn't part of the locations where I had been. So it was just thought of going, and again, just a once in a lifetime trip is what it ended up being. So
What was the most memorable part for you of your trip?
something that we'll talk about, the most memorable. You want more than one? Okay, so the naming ceremony again. So that ceremony was a chief that, and it was in a village, and it was a true ceremony with dancing and like I said, the village around. What we'll talk about, and I don't want to steal anybody else's thunder as well, is, you know, when we go to Ghana, we were at Cape Coast too. So we went to the slave castles. On the way there, we went to the last bath before they went to those slave castles. And that was something that was extremely moving, as well as being in the castles. But you'll hear more about that, I'm sure. So.
Okay, Dr. Purvis.
So, I mean, the purpose for going really for me was just an opportunity to travel with friends. I'll tell you, when I met these ladies, and it's always, and I knew Sonya, known her for quite a while, but I was actually, the day we met for the first time, and Galena was the following week, but it was October the 17th, 2020. And that was significant for me because literally we were having our orientation that morning. And that afternoon, I was celebrating my 50th birthday, as well as my 6th cancerversary. So it was just a significant, very significant point and day in my life. So, and it was so, and knowing I would have an opportunity to go with these ladies. And I've said this to each of them, you know, our friendship came at a time when a lot of transition was happening in my life, you know, turning 50. Both of my daughters had graduated high school. They were now both in college. And now, you know, me and my husband are faced with the reality of being empty nesters, and you're trying to figure this thing out again. So it was just that opportunity to go with friends and just have some fun, to learn some things, to share and bond. And the experience for me with each of them, and I always think about, you know, what they mean to me individually, as well as collectively. And, you know, I will never forget, you know, the conversations that Galena, Dr. Bivens and I had, you know, on our balconies. And we talked a lot about marriage and how you navigate this thing called life once kids are out of the house. And I think about even today, that conversation and how it helped me in my transition back home, and understanding things that I need to do, that my husband and I need to do together to get beyond, you know, this empty nest syndrome. So it's just those aspects, you know, who can ever forget the laughs and the silliness that Dr. Reid and I do together? No, I mean, it's the best part of my life right now, you know, laughing with these ladies. And Sonya, you know, Sonya is an activist. She's always keeping us working hard, making sure that we are about the cause, that community service is at the heart of everything that we do. She makes sure that we get good pictures. So she keeps us on social media. But they all have just meant so much to me individually, and collectively. I am a better person. My life is more full as a result of that 14 days, which is a long time, but I'm telling you, it was truly a life-changing experience for me. And, you know, we haven't talked about the shirts that we have on yet. We all have on the same shirts if you want to talk about that. But I think, Tina, is it Sisa Wosobon? I think I'm saying that correctly, but it actually means to change or transform your attitude or change things in your life that may be a challenge for you. And I feel like that's what that trip did for me.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. There's so much in what you said that I can unpack and land on. First of all, I'm an empty nester. I've been an empty nester for a few years now, so I think I'm a pro at it at this point. But I was one of those that was actually kind of fearful of going into that space because my entire life centered around my daughters, my husband's elected official. It was always run, 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 go, 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 this event, that event, campaigns, etc. And I was actually afraid of what things would look like on the other side. But let me tell you something, I love it here. I absolutely love it here. I love the calm, and I love the fact that we do get to refocus on us and refocus on our relationship and how we want to live and what life is going to look like going forward. So you're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
We're already starting to. That's a good thing.
And I don't want to forget about you, Dr. Bivens, your experience.
My experience there was just amazing. Just like the other, my other group sisters have said, probably the most memorable thing outside of all the cultural things that we did, and it was just the bond that we had. And we were talking about once before, what was the most memorable thing of the trip. And one morning we were just out, I believe it was a morning, we were just out at the resort on the Atlantic Ocean and just really had, I believe it was a Sunday morning, and just had this spiritual connection, this bond that was like no other. And it was a game that, it was actually an icebreaker, I believe, that Sonya had. It wasn't a game, it was one of those icebreaker type things. And we're trying to get through letters of the alphabet, and it just took us forever. But I tell you, that moment, I will never, and I will cherish that. I mean, that is on the top of my list of things that we did, and most memorable outside of the cultural events that we did, because that there, I think, solidified our relationship, and that we knew right then and there that we were sisters, we were together, we're spiritual sisters, that we're connected. There's a connection that we will always have, and that bond right there. So I would say that for me, outside of the cultural pieces, that would be my most memorable moment of the trip.
I love hearing you all talk about each other. And I would say to my viewers, be intentional about cultivating these relationships, women that are important to you, whether it's through the bloodline or not. And be intentional about spending time and sharing with each other. Time goes by so fast. I had a conversation with a dear friend of mine. I met her through my husband. My husband and I weren't married yet, we were dating. And he was good friends with somebody that she was dating. And so that's how we met. And their paths separated, but we always remained friends. So we've been friends. I've been married 38 years this year. So 40 years we've been friends, and we hadn't talked to each other in a while. And then we were on the phone for like an hour yesterday talking. And when I got done, my message to myself was, listen, you're not that busy. Slow down and make sure you're really, really intentional about spending time with people that you care about. I want to shift a little bit and talk about what organizations are you involved in that you support? I know all of you are just very nurturing women, and you're involved in so many important elements of the communities that you live in, that you work in. So just want to go around and hear, like, what are some of the initiatives or projects or organizations that you're a part of? I'm going to start with you, Dr. Reid.
In addition to the Lynx that we talked about, to me, that is probably the best organization, because I had an opportunity to meet these beautiful ladies. And I can honestly say, I probably would have never met them if I hadn't been inducted into the ceremony. And it is based on sisterhood, and it's based on friendship, and it's based on uplifting people and empowering, and it's about community service. And that's everything that I stand for. So what better way to be able to find an organization that accepts people, women of color, for who they truly are. And yes, we have different lives, but we all are professional, and we're all about our sister being our sister's keeper. And to me, that's one of the first ones that clearly come to mind, even though we've all got inducted in a little over a year. But then I also, for the professional side, the other side that's attached to my career is the University System of Maryland Women's Forum. And when I tell you the dynamic women from there, from different walks of life, and it's faculty, it's some staff that come together, different ethnic and racial backgrounds, but accepting us for who we are and being non-judgmental and coming together. And it is about uplifting women or people that identify as women or as females. And it's about empowerment and also enriching each other's lives. And to me, the both really are parallel. The primary difference is the true sisterhood when we talk about being African-American. And I am gonna go back a little bit to Ghana because that's home. You know, that's to our roots. And we were able to unite together on a different spiritual level and in love back home. And that is so powerful.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? One of the reasons I wanted you all to come on and have this conversation is I just think women are just so important for the times that we live in right now. Our voices, you know, that light that we should. We're natural born nurturers, caretakers, whether you give birth or not. I just believe that that's what God called us to be, called us to do. And so I just think it's so important to share stories like this and to encourage women to come together and unite and be that light, that force, that positive force that's needed in our communities today, because there's just so much going on. And sometimes the focus just seems to be on the negative, you know, the craziness that's going on. I have to tell you, one of my guilty pleasures was the Housewives franchise. Yeah, I said it. I was watching I was watching all of them. I was addicted to one or two, and I'm still weaning myself off of one. But I had to just step back one day and say to myself, this is such a horrible message to be sending to our young women, our up and coming women. Like, this is not it. This is not how we want to form relationships. This is not normal for us to be fighting at each other and causing each other harm. It might be entertainment, but we know that the media gets in the mind of people, and that our young women are strongly influenced by media and what they see on television. So I use my platform to be a light and to bring positive stories and positive messages, because I just think it's so important right now. Can someone share broadly what is the Lynx organization for people who may not know?
Well, if you look at the even the logo when you see it, so we are linked in friendship and connected in service, going to what Dr. Reid stated. So that is literally what we do, and we celebrate each other's success. I think that's something. I think Tina, Dr. Reid mentioned this as well. So the ideals of LinkedIn is follow the ideals of, I could say, all of us, again, maybe in different facets or different ways, but very, very important to celebrate your success, especially somebody that's close to me is my success. And I want to celebrate it. And being that Kim already alluded to how I am with social media, and Annette, I know that you know too, is really for informing. The reason for it for me, and I get more excited to share information about somebody else than myself. I mean, I love a selfie. And I think I'm making up for lost time, because I used to not like to take pictures, but that's its own story. We're not here for that. But I love to celebrate other people. And these women right here are extremely dynamic. So I think, the Lynx, you asked about other organizations. So I'm just going to take this chance to, and I'm not going to, don't worry, I'm not going to go through this list. I'm going to go through ones that I feel like are relevant. So member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Princess Anne Alumni Chapter, and actually Kim Purvis is my chapter president.
Mhm.
So we were talking about, we knew each other before, and that's sisterhood, scholarship, service, political, social action. And one of the fun things is, and I mean, Galena and Dr. Bivens can mention for herself, but she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, right? So we had a lot of fun on the trip with that too. I mean, because honestly, we talked about how we've been in Lynx for less than a year. All of us have been in those two other, the sororities longer than that. Like, so that's definitely a part of us. But we're all here for the community and betterment of the community. There are a couple other initiatives that I think that are kind of relevant too, but we can talk about that another time. Those are the ones I wanted to outline at this time.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And our sororities have such a rich history and legacy. I mean, we probably could do another show just on their contributions to society and what they've done in our communities and with our education systems, and even the political influences that those organizations have. What about you, Dr. Bivens? Any other organizations or initiatives or projects you're involved in?
Yes, I'm also involved with the Women's Leadership Council, which is a women's leadership group here in Salisbury. Very newly formed group. I believe we're less than a year old.
Yes.
And that's where I met you first.
Yes.
Tom, I had an opportunity to meet with you and speak with you. And so we're looking at just opportunities to gear women in a direction of leadership and just showcase that, there are women in our community that are leaders, and how can we mentor other young ladies and mentor them throughout by putting on different workshops and functions, which we have one coming up at the end of the month.
Yes.
I'm also, as Sonya said, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Omega chapter, not to get confused with Delta Sigma Theta, my sisters. And I think one of the things that we shared on our group regarding our respective sororities is that we know who we are as individuals, and we laugh, and we just made jokes and just different comments towards one another throughout the trip. And it's so much fun and sisterhood, where we find that there are some persons in our respective organizations that would not, would have not taken that as lightly as we did. And so, we know who we are individuals. So that was wonderful that you have two entities that were able to continue to work together and do work for the common cause. And then also, I'm a member of a Spirit Foundation also, which is a nonprofit organization that does community service. And one last one I would like to highlight is I am the president of the Bicomical Child Advocacy Center. And, we focused on child maltreatment and how we can support the local Department of Social Services and the children of Bicomical County by doing various activities and groups in the community. So I thought that was important to share as well.
It's funny for the viewers. So all of you are from the Maryland Lower Eastern Shore. Sonya, I believe you're from New Jersey originally, right? So I'm from New Jersey, but my husband and I decided that we wanted to retire on the Lower Eastern Shore. So we bought a property there in 2017. We haven't lived there full time yet. We've been back and forth because his term doesn't end until next year. So once he is fully retired, we'll be down there full time. But one of my concerns was leaving my network and my community, my sisterhood, because I, like you, have just been very active, very involved in different things. And let me tell you, God has completely blown my mind, because the connections that I have made, starting with you, all of you. I mean, I met Sonya first. I was working at Salisbury University for a short period of time, and I met her. And then I met you, Dr. Reid, and it just kept going from there. I had an opportunity to meet you and so many more wonderful women that are doing great things in the community. So I just want to say I'm so happy to be connected to all of you, because all of you feed my soul and my desire to want to be connected to strong, powerful women who are just doing great things in their lives and the lives of others in the community, and so that I can tap into that and be able to participate in my new home, my new space. So I'm really happy to be connected with all of you. I want to hear from you, Dr. Reid, because you focus on global health. And I know that one of the issues that you're working on is with nurses. And so I just want you to share a little bit about that.
One of the first things that I would say is that the world is ever changing and the diversity is present. And if COVID hasn't taught anybody anything else, it should clearly let you know that global health is important and it affects every person, no matter who you are in the world. Mm-hmm. I believe it's part of my mission and my purpose to make sure that people have a better understanding of what it means to be global citizens and to truly have a respect and appreciation for every person, regardless of their background, but also letting people know that every single aspect of a person's life can really impact their health. And that is truly what my mission is. And I also believe it's important that everybody get an opportunity to visit the continent of Africa. And I repeat, the continent of Africa, because some people don't realize that it is a continent. They think it's a country. Mm-hmm. And Africa's just not Africa. It's not the same. And so when people say they want to visit Africa, I ask where, and sometimes they say, I don't know, and it doesn't matter, but it really does matter. But I would say, regardless of what area you choose to go visit, it is still going back home to your roots, regardless of what color is. And the connection that you feel, the people that you meet are truly so genuine, so kind, so thoughtful, and really welcome you with open arms. And oftentimes I think we look at it as, oh my goodness, woe is them. No, woe is us, because they are truly rich and wealthy in their own right. And they have every single source that they need. And right now I'm talking about Ghana. They have every single resource that they need. To me, the more people that we can get to go visit,
I can't wait.
World is going to be, it's going to give you a different appreciation. It's going to give you a better understanding. It's going to make you more culturally aware. And honestly, it's only a flight away for somebody to come either into our country or us going into their country.
Yeah, we don't realize, well, let me talk about me. I didn't realize until I started traveling how small this world is. You know, when you're a kid living in your little town or your little city, the world, you know, that's your world. But once I started traveling, it was like, you know, the world really is smaller than you think. And you can get, I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I could get anywhere in the world from downtown Newark, from the Newark airport or the train station or the bus station. Literally, I can go anywhere in the world from my little town, Newark, New Jersey. But I have a question that I want everybody to answer, and I ask this of all my guests, but before I do that, I want to hear from you, Dr. Purvis, because you're the principal of a high school, and I want you to just share a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, thank you. Principal of a high school, it's a tall job, a big job, but it is truly a rewarding job. The ability to impact lives in the manner in which I have, being the principal of that high school, it's a responsibility that I am so humbled by. It's a responsibility that I am so grateful for. I do not take that opportunity for granted at all. You know, people always shake their head and say, woo, high school. Nope, I'm like, yay, the high school, because the impact, you are the last public school principal that those students will encounter in their K-12 formal education. And I am always cognizant of the impact or the lasting memories or the whatever I would leave in their life. So I'm always conscious about being positive, imparting good wisdom, good knowledge, those things that say, you know, I don't want a kid 10 years from now or 20 years from now to say, I don't remember my principal. Or to say, you know what, that lady was whatever. I want them to say things like, you know, Dr. Purvis always had something positive for us. She was always lifting us up, but Dr. Purvis always corrected us when we were wrong, you know, and she could look at you with those eyes and you knew what to do. So it's a responsibility, you know. Everybody in my school knows that we soar higher. And as Eagles, we soar higher, but we're never soaring in comparison to somebody else. I always tell my kids that I want you guys to be your best selves. And when you talk about being soaring higher, making sure that you're higher today than you were yesterday and working harder than you ever did. So it's just a responsibility that I'm just grateful to God for the opportunity to be able to work with those young people. And I just love the opportunity. I love the experience.
What an honor to be in that position, because you are literally shaping the future leaders. How you show up for them is really such an influence around leadership, you know, and those are the things that's where we need people to really be intentional. Like you're talking about intention setting. You're being very intentional about how you impact your students. And I think that's so important because that's such a critical and influential time in their lives. And so I just want to applaud you, because being in a position like that, we need to have people like you that we can entrust the hearts and minds of our young people to.
I was
Sonya.
kind of kidding because this is an inside joke to have my hand raised like this,
Oh.
but I also wanted to say something too, because there's nothing more powerful actually than to go into to Snow Hill High School and see how the school responds to her. I mean, they love her. It's really, really tremendous. It's really, really remarkable with her staff and the students, and Kim, that's how you are as a person. I mean, you just, that's just how you are. So it's really, really it's pretty amazing to see.
Well, I'm gonna have to do a road trip and come
I think
and visit,
so. I honestly
visit you
think
one
so.
day. Yes, because I'm not that far.
Yeah.
I'm not that far from you.
And can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
Because Kim doesn't toot her own horn, and I thought Sonya was gonna say this, but she's the first African-American female principal at this school.
Come on now.
So when we're talking about women's leadership and Women's History Month, we need to toot your horn, Dr. Purvis.
Now, see, I didn't even know that fact about you. I didn't, but thank you for sharing that, because here we are, Women's History Month. What?
Toot, toot.
Toot, toot. Thank you for sharing that. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All the glory goes to God, you know that. Wow,
that is so awesome. So I asked this question of all my guests, and this is going to be how we wrap up today. So this is living in the good space, and living in the good space is about being able to cultivate a space, mind, body, and soul, where you can thrive wherever you are in life. Challenges come, we have our ups and downs, the things that we prepare for, we don't prepare for. But how do we take care of ourselves so that we can operate at the most optimal level as we just go through life, those transitions, you know, everything? How do we tap into the good? So my question to you is, what does living in the good space mean to you? And I'm going to go around, and I'm going to start with you, Dr. Purvis.
All right, living in the good space. Oh my goodness. It really just means being my best self. And I always tell people, you know, my grandmother, when she was dying, she said to me, like the day before she died, she said, "Be nice, baby." And, you know, I was 16 years old, and that had been my mom my whole life. And now she's leaving. And I have carried that around forever, the be nice, baby, because I know that I have a purpose to treat people right. And I feel like living in a good space is being good to people. And, you know, you're not going to always do everything right. And I certainly don't do everything right, but my intentions are good toward people. And that's where I find myself when I know that I am trying to do what's right. I am, not taking people for granted, not taking the gifts that God has given me for granted. That's when I find myself living in the good space. And I really like that title. And I want to think about that a little bit more, but that's what I would say, just being true to who I am committed to be. And that's being the best person that I can be, and trying to leave this world and the people that I impact a little bit better off than they were when I came into their lives.
Wow, powerful, powerful, powerful. Thank you so much. Sonya.
Oh, so you're going to have me follow that. Thank you.
That's a tough one.
I'll take that. I think living in the good space is honestly what Dr. Purvis stated, and also just big on the self-care, right? And honestly, with the theme of what you have for this pod, I keep calling it podcast, but for the show as well, is sisterhood. So for me, who's not married, doesn't have any kids, am an only child, right? So to me, sisterhood is very, very important. True, genuine sisterhood, though, too. So may know a lot of people, but not everybody gets to see the full self. And then those that do, that can be with you on your highs, when you're on your lows, help you out, or just listen. Sometimes you just need to listen. You just need to vent and share. Just being able to be your authentic self. I'm thinking it sounds kind of like buzzwords and some things that we're talking about when we're in the DEI, BJ space. But I mean, those things are actually very, very true if you take them on an authentic level. So I think a good space for me is when I am enjoying my time with my people. That's something that's very, very important to me. These ladies are everything. I have my friends in Jersey that I see maybe even once a quarter, but I've known them for over 30 years. Those are my people. That brings me nothing but joy to just be able to spend time with them. And again, they know me, how I've grown, how I need to continue to grow, and some of those spaces. So I think that's just really important to have the self-reflection and people around you that help you, whether it's self-reflect and reflect what you want to do in the community or at your job or personally or whatever those things are.
Dr. Bivens, living in a good space for you.
Living in my good space for me is just maintaining balance. I mean, holistically, whether, my relationships, personal, professional, environmental, my mental health, self-care. I just try to maintain a balance. It's not always equally balanced, but when I find myself getting off kilter, I just sit back and just reflect on what's happening, what do I have control over, and what don't I have control over. And the things that I don't have control over, I just take them out of my life, because I try not to have negative influences, negative thoughts. And, not that it's always that way, as Sonya said, but for me, living my good life is just balance. It takes you years to get there, just trying to find out where that balance is. And I've still sometimes have to try to figure it out. But I got my sisters, to lean on. So if something get out of kilter, just like we can be on this Zoom, or we've been in meetings before and we've texted each other and say, hey, what's going on? Just knowing that, that demeanor, just sending positive affirmations to one another every day, practically we probably text and communicate almost every day. I would say 99% of the time we're communicating with one another. So my living in good space is just maintaining balance. Sometimes it's easy and other times it's difficult, but maintain that balance.
We just keep working towards it. And last but not least, Dr. Reid.
So living in the good space is actually being in God's presence. He's everywhere. He's omnipresent. So no matter where you go, he's there with you, whether you believe or not. It's not about that, but he's always there through the good, the bad, the rough, the times. He loves us unconditionally. So to me, that's truly what it's about. But also for those that may not believe, spirituality is different than religiosity,
Yeah.
having true relationships, and being really purposeful. And you've already talked about that. So in addition to what the other ladies have already said, I would also say it's really about a holistic approach. So every part of your being, every aspect of your life, if anything is not in order and not balanced, as Dr. Bivens mentioned, things are going to be a little bit off kilter, and it's okay, but you got to get back into place. Self-care is paramount. And I tell people, I work hard, but I play harder. And I am truly about playing harder.
Yes.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. I do. And that cliche of life is too short, you know, yes, because nobody is promised tomorrow. Nobody's promised the next minute. And truly staying humble and being grateful for every single opportunity, grateful for another breath, grateful for another second, grateful because we can speak, you know, grateful for every single opportunity is truly just a blessing. And also to be able to let your light shine and to continue. So at the end of my journey, that dash, that's what's going to be significant. It is. So what are we doing during that period that we're given? And it's not just, you know, being, yes, you want to make an impact, you want to be purposeful, but it's about leaving a legacy. So I'm truly grateful for you, for these ladies, but also for all the other strong women that has went before us, who has paid to make it easier, to allow Dr. Purvis to become the first Black principal, to allow me to become the first Black full professor at Salisbury University. Look at how long these types of universities have been in place. For me, it's truly about that holistic approach, but truly being humble and grateful and doing exactly what we're called to do, to be on this earth. So thank you again for this opportunity.
Whew, I knew it would be good. I knew it. I just, as soon as I saw, you know, Sonya starting to post and everything, and I've met all of you, but I don't really know you. We haven't spent a lot of time together. I knew that bringing you on would just be inspirational. So thank you so much for sharing pieces of your story, your passion work. I appreciate you so much. I look forward to being able to connect with you when I am a full-time Maryland Lower Eastern Shore resident. I look forward to getting together with you all in person, and just thank you so much for what you do in your communities and what you're doing to uplift and support women. And thank you for your graciousness of time today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.